Hey Instagram, Happy New Year. I am April Dosie-Diggs and this is my Insta page. So I wanted to spend some time with you guys today just talking to you and letting you get to know me a little bit. I know that a lot of people started a lot of businesses, new businesses in 2020. We've made New Year's resolutions for 2021, things that we want to achieve, things that we want to change about ourselves, things that we want to progress in. And I wanted to share some steps with you that have helped me be successful in my life, no matter what I've tried to accomplish, and some steps that I use. So, we already know that being able to see is important. That's a given. I've posted all last week on information regarding healthy eye function, but that's not the type of vision that I want to talk about today. And one thing that I've learned that's really, really cool about people who are seeing impaired or blind is that they can still see, just not the same way that we do. They use their other senses, the sense of smell, the sense of hearing, their sense of touch. And the cool thing about the sense of touch is that they don't have to actually grasp something with their fingertips in order to know that something is there, or to be able to sense a presence, or understand that there's an object in front of them. When they are able to tap into their surroundings, it's really very cool how easily they can navigate in their own world. Really cool. And so the vision that I want to talk about today has to do with self-awareness. Now, a lot of times when people talk about having a vision, they're talking about goal setting, being able to see yourself where you want to be, and all of that is so true and so important. In fact, this is my vision board right behind me, but that's still not the type of vision that I want to talk about today. So, just to kind of give you an idea of what I mean, because all of that talks about goal setting and visualizing yourself where you want to be, those are awesome feelings, right? They make us feel all confident. I can do this. I can go out there and I can achieve. But sometimes we need to see the things about ourselves that aren't so warm and fuzzy. We need to be able to address the things in our lives that don't make us feel like I'm on top of the world. Sometimes we need to be able to see that stuff too. So, for example, and you can see by my page that I am definitely someone who believes in the Lord. So I'll talk to you about that a little bit, but there's a lot of practical things that we can apply to our life, no matter who you are, to help us grow, right? And to help us to achieve goals and things of that nature. So I wanted to come to you from a practical perspective, but a lot of what I am saying, if not all of it, is going to be biblically based. So there's going to be some times that I reference the Word of God as well. And so, for an example, with the Old Testament, right? God provided prophet after prophet after prophet warnings of destruction when he wanted people to turn around and start doing what was right. We see that with Moses and Pharaoh, Ezekiel and the Israelites. We see it with Jonah and the people of Nineveh. Well, to talk about the whale. And even with Nathan's warnings to King David when he slept with Uriah's wife, Bathsheba. Now, one of two things happened anytime those warnings went out, okay? People had two choices. They either heed the warnings and be victorious, or they ignore the warnings and be destroyed. So some had the aha moment and were able to see their mistakes and willingly correct them, while others were blind to their faults and failed pretty catastrophically, right? So, in our life, when we are looking at ourselves and learning how to be self aware of what's going on with us, we have to really be open to have vision, to really be able to see. So now, like I stated, I would simply be remiss of me. It would be remiss of me to say that the only way that you would be able to tap into some of the things that I'm saying is that you have a relationship with God. I am a believer. God is my everything. And as a believer, I understand Matthew 5 and 45 that explains that God allows both rain and sunshine to fall on believers and those who do not believe. So God is the source of understanding, whether you choose to accept it or not. There are people who are believers and some who are not, who have the gift of discernment, that innate ability to be able to read people or have tremendous street smarts to understand a situation, know exactly what needs to be applied to that situation, when to press someone, when to lay off of it. I mean, it's a phenomenal gift. And there are people who are believers and people who are not believers who have that gift, who have that ability to do that. So even in our, with our forefathers and our country and what this country was built on and the principles in which it was built, we, even to our currency, is in God we trust, right? Our Constitution gives standing from biblical principles and perspectives on we are all equal, even if we are not actually practicing that across the board. That's a whole nother discussion. But anyway, why am I saying all this? Because I'm going to share with you again some practical applications that are based on biblical principles to help you be able to assess you and your life and the course of your life in 2021. That's it. So I want to start off with a pretty cool quote that a lot of us know from a play called Hamlet from Shakespeare. And I don't know if I'm going to do my, theatrical voice. I'll try. But it says, "To thine own self be true." Okay, so to thine own self be true. But what does that really mean? There have been a lot of people who speculate what that line in the play meant. Does it mean do what only makes you happy? Watch out for number one uno, right? Numero uno, you know what I mean. What does that line mean? So I wanted to go back to the play and look at that piece in context with the surrounding lines to see what Shakespeare was saying with that. All right, so here's what it says. It says, "This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as night the day, though canst not then be false to any man." Okay, so you can't be false to any man. So Shakespeare is actually talking about telling the truth, being honest, which is pretty cool. And just a tidbit, Shakespeare actually used a lot of biblical principles and context in his writings. Just a note, in case you didn't know. But on this part, he's talking about being truthful and being honest every time, just like day follows night and night follows day. But I want to bring attention to the fact that every man would also mean it includes ourselves. We must be honest and transparent with ourselves in order to progress. The New Testament Gospel of John teaches that the truth will make you free. Now, the canonical book of Ecclesiastes teaches that there's a time and a season for everything. So those are definitely times, and it should be every morning that we're giving ourselves affirmation and speaking positive things into our life. But there are definitely also times that we need to sit back and just take a peek at examining the weaknesses that we have and be teachable and be sponges willing to learn about us and how to better us. So in order for us to see truth about ourselves, we have to be able to let go of what we want to see about us. We have to be able to shatter that false sense of who we want to present ourselves to be and the mask that we wear, and be able to really dive into and open up those curtains and say, this is me. Let me deal with this. Let me address this if we really want to be progressive in our life, right? Okay. So Have you ever asked yourself why you do what you do? Or asked yourself why you don't do what you don't? Looking at the whys in our life and really focusing in on that will give us the opportunity to grow because it helps us understand our motives. Are those motives built in fear or insecurities or wanting validation from people? What is our motivation for the things that we do? And then that's going to help us to unlock how to navigate moving forward, how to stop being stuck where we are, right? So, even the want to please people is a key element of customer service. But then the question goes to what degree does that turn into validation from man that we need and losing ourselves in what others think of us, right? So think about it this way. When you go to the eye doctor runs several different checks, tests on your eyesight to find out where your weaknesses are and what needs to be supplemented, right? They'll check the left eye and then the right, and then they'll check the eyes together, and then they'll test that against far sight and near sight. And then they'll prescribe you glasses, and they'll look at even stigmatisms, and they'll give you a prescription for glasses to help you see clearer, to help you be able to focus better. So in our life, we want to take ourselves to the vision doctor, and we want to be able to run checks on our own lives to help us see clearer, to help us be more focused, to help us to be able to achieve more, to be able to progress more, to be able to be more successful in what we do. So that brings me to check number one. Now, my first check that I do is that I check my giving. I do. The spirit of giving keeps the desperate, sabotaging actions out of our finances. You know, the fear of missing out pieces. Oh, I gotta grab this because it's on sale right now. Or this person is going to make me a millionaire in 2 days, so I gotta grab onto that right now. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some really good pieces that are out there right now that will help you to be able to be productive in your life. There's some life coaches out there that really have some great information. But you have to be able to invest in your future. So, but there has to be a balance. And so if we're doing something out of being desperate in the sense of, I'm just going to try everything that's out there, you're making your financial situation worse. Just saying. But when we have a giving spirit, when we're able to release funds and give to someone else and help somebody else make it, right? When we do that, it really puts our mindset in a frame of mind that when I'm willing to let go of money and bless someone else, it's because I understand that there's enough to go around, and that me giving something away doesn't mean that I'm going to run out. And I think that that's where some of the desperate moves that we make in cheating systems, in trying to take things that aren't ours, those desperate moves that are strictly negative are really, the Ponzi schemes that we try, the things where we're just throwing money down the toilet, the things where we're trying to bump someone else out of the way so that we can be successful. Like, those are desperate moves. And it's going to catch up with you eventually. You may feel like for a moment that you're progressing, but it's going to end up limiting you, and it's going to end up dragging you down and adding weight to you that you just don't need. Even when you think about compliments, when you hold back giving someone else a compliment because you're afraid that they're not going to give you a compliment back, like, whoa, no, we got to be able to, like, sincerely give to other people, sincerely pour into other people and in different areas of our lives. And when we're sincere with that, then we understand that the return may come in a different area of our life. You're not giving to someone for that person to return it to you in the same way. You're giving it, understanding that you're paying it forward, that it's going to come back around to you. Um, so I really want to, I'm going to come back to this other point. I'll come back to it. So, number two, a way for you to check your vision, right? Is to check your time. I check my time. I sit back sometimes and I think about, how am I spending my time? What am I doing with my time? We just spent the entire year of 2020, most of us working from home. Well, I won't say most because I don't know the stats, but many people working from home, or maybe being laid off, or can't go to work because your kid's school was shut down. Whatever the case may be, we've had to stop, unless you are part of the nursing field or first responders or something like that, where I'm pretty sure that they have been going nonstop. The majority of us have had to stop, and we've had time on our hands. So the question is, what are you doing with it? Are you soaking up positive messages, or am I spending my time allowing my mind to be diluted with hours of television on end, just going through the screen after screen after screen of just mindless television? Yes, there are good positive messages that are on TV, but there's a lot of things that we could be not watching and instead soaking up knowledge, reading a book, finding some education, spending time with our kids, spending time with our spouses, just different things that we can be working on to build ourselves, spending time in the Word, studying on how to make ourselves better, right? So how do you spend your time? And then the third check, for my vision check, is check my walk. So for me, I believe in natural things. I believe in eating being a huge, essential part of your health. I believe that we don't want to dilute our body with a whole bunch of chemicals and things like that. And so I don't think that, fast food is the greatest thing for us. So just for an example, because I do sometimes eat fast food. I just do. I love my Chick-fil-A. But just for an example, if I were to say, fast food is, of the devil, and I'm not saying that Instagram, just come on. I'm using an example, like on the far end of the spectrum. But if I were to say that and I go, you should not eat fast food, no one should eat it, leave it alone, you can't touch it, all this kind of stuff, and then go home and I down a big juicy fat cheeseburger, come on. I'm not practicing what I teach and what I preach. I'm not walking out the same things that I'm telling other people. I'm not taking my own good advice, right? And so it's just, I think that like gives negative energy to your life, for real, to where when you're constantly telling people on what to do, like what's done in the dark is going to come to light and it's going to blow up in your face. Like, come on, don't do that. So being able to definitely apply the knowledge that you've learned. Don't just soak up, don't just read all these books. Don't just, watch all of these self-help shows. Don't just listen to all these life coaches and go, oh yeah, that's a beautiful message, and that's it. Like, use the knowledge that you've learned. Walk it out, right? So then number 4 is that I have to check my heart. Yeah. So in checking my heart, I'm checking myself and asking, what am I harboring? What am I holding on to? Where do I lack compassion in my life? What am I not forgiving? What am I not letting go of? What am I hoarding, right? Do I mistreat other people? Do I step on them to get to where I'm going? Am I talking down about other people, making myself feel good? Have I forgotten where I come from? Like even with my kids, when I'm talking to my kids and they're telling me that they're going through something or maybe they've done something wrong, have I forgotten that, several years ago, way back when, that I experienced some things myself? And am I passing judgment on them and downing them for what they're going through, forgetting about what I've gone through? Like, that is definitely something that we have to think about, right? And so I check my heart. And I can tell you that harboring things and holding on to grudges and bitterness and unforgiveness, man, that is poisoning to your system. I don't care who you are. That is poisoning to your system. I don't care what you believe. That is poisoning to your system to hold on to hate. And I think about Magneto from the movie X-Men. And it was Eric, a young Eric before he was called Magneto, and he was growing up on the concentration camp. And the man who was there that was over the camp found out that he had special abilities and found out that he could channel it through rage. And so he built rage up in him and made him angry all the time so that he could use this gift, right? But then when Eric was able to break free from that place and he met Xavier, who was going to be Professor X, he taught him how to channel his gift through something more powerful than anger, and it was love. Anger is going to be able to drive you to do some things. When I get, when somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm like, yes, I can. And that is going to push me, but it's only going to push me but so far. The love that I have for myself is going to carry me the rest of the way. The love that I have for myself and for my family and being able to take care of them, that right there is going to push me much further than being mad at something that somebody did or said to me. So again, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you believe. Using anger and bitterness and unforgiveness is poison in your system. You got to be able to learn how to woosah, 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 let it go. Find a way to find something that's more important to focus your energy on. All right, so number five. Number five is check my stewardship. So if you have a job and you want to be promoted, chances are you're not really going to be able to get it if you're showing up to work late every day. Come on. Every time the boss needs something, you're like, okay, you're haphazardly doing your work. More than likely, you're not going to be on the promotion list. Okay, well, that's universal in your relationships. If you're not cultivating your marriage, chances are you probably won't be married for very long. If you're not putting that time into your relationship with your kids, they're going to grow up and they're going to get busy with their life and not, be all that concerned with building your relationship when you weren't, interested in building it when they were young. And, things can change in life and directions can shift, but it's going to take you putting in the work to do that. So over the things that you have right now, you want to run a multi-billion-dollar company. Well, what are you doing on your job right now that says that you're aiming for a multi-billion job company? A multi-billion company that you want to own. Are you showing your current boss the respect that they deserve for the money that they're paying you right now? Like, that is the question. If you don't appreciate the things that you have now, you can watch those things slip away from you. And then it'll be too late because it'll be gone and a missed opportunity. That was number five. All right. So number six. In number six, I check my weight. W-A-I-T. I check my weight. How am I waiting for my next opportunity? How am I waiting for my next big chance? How am I waiting for my next breakthrough to come through, right? My next level that I'm able to elevate myself to. Am I in panic mode? Where's my anxiety level in that? Am I sitting back going, oh no, I don't know, I'm not 30. I'm way beyond 30. Let's just get that out there. But am I saying, oh no, I'm 30 and I'm not married yet, and what am I going to do? And I just got to reach out for the next man that comes along and grab him and marry him. No, Panic mode, baby. You're not going to get to where you want to be in panic mode. You're not going to get to where you want to be and be successful and progress in life having anxiety ride. So there's some things that I do. I love meditation. I love yoga, and I, have scriptures playing in the background. That's me. I love my essential oils, my lavender, my bergamot. Oh, my bergamot. My bergamot is my favorite oil, like hands down my favorite oil. It helps me to just relax and take some weight off my shoulders. I love essential oils. They help with so many different things. But I also have my Bible study. I also have my prayer. It's so important for me to work on my relationship with God because He is the source of my peace and my joy. He is the source of my comfort. He provides us with tools and resources that help, but He is the source. And so for whatever it is with you, if it's going to run, if it's going to, I don't know, boxing, kickboxing, whatever it is for you that helps you bring that anxiety down, that helps you be able to focus, helps you be able to put things in perspective and wait on things to happen and not get so anxious and just start grabbing at things trying to make it work, because you're only sabotaging yourself and making it worse. Just saying. All right, so number 7, and this is the last step that I do for my vision health, for me to check my vision. I rinse and repeat. Yeah, that's it. I rinse and repeat because this is while I'm waiting, right? And so I'm constantly going through my list, steps 1 through 5, and I'm just kind of reviewing them and going over them, and I'm paying attention to where I am, and I'm taking the blinders off of my life, being willing to see the darkness that's in me. Because I consider myself to be a nice person. I consider myself to be someone who cares about people. Absolutely, I care about people and want to see other people progress. But that doesn't mean that I don't still have some areas in my life that I have to work on, that I have to progress in, that I have to go, oh, April, you do need an attitude check right there. Just saying. So with that, I want to kind of give y'all just like a visual with it that I can talk you through. So how you wait, right? And in your waiting, this is step number 7, in your rinse and repeat, what you're doing, what you're actively doing while you're waiting. Because waiting doesn't mean sitting in your house, right? And just sitting there waiting for Publishers Clearinghouse to come knock on your door and give you a check for life, that they're going to go, oh, here's, $5,000 every single 2 weeks for life, or whatever the case may be. That's not what waiting is. Waiting is actually an active piece. Really pretty cool. I mean, think about it this way. The nurse could never say, the doctor's ready to see you now. She could never say that if you didn't first acknowledge that there was something going on with you that needed to be checked, got up out of your house, got dressed, got in the car, drove to the hospital, and sat in the waiting room. If you didn't get yourself to the waiting room, there was no way for the nurse to say, the doctor's ready to see you now. So with that in mind, I just want to encourage you to have the courage to look within yourself and not always be looking for those warm and fuzzy feelings, but really do a deep dive into you, into your self-awareness, be able to have that vision, be able to see what needs to be worked on in you. And I told you guys at the beginning of this thing that I believe in God. These are practical things that everyone can use to help add some value to their life. But I'm going to be honest with you. Those things are only going to be able to take you but so far. Will you be able to start a billion-dollar company? Absolutely. Will you be able to get married and find a spouse? Absolutely. Will you be able to get a promotion on your job? Absolutely. Those things can happen for you. But when I tell you my own personal testimony of the amount of peace that I have in my life, you cannot put a value on that. You can't put a dollar sign on that. When I tell you the amount of joy that I have in my life, where no matter, and I honestly, guys, I'm getting ready to launch a nonprofit organization. It is coming, it is on its way, where you're going to be able to hear my testimony of what I've been through in my life. When I tell you that there is absolutely nothing that could happen that I wouldn't be able to find a peace in that situation, that I wouldn't be able to have joy in that situation. And I know a lot of things happen in our life. So I'm telling you, I'm speaking from experience. That came from my relationship with God. Everything that I've told you so far is based off of biblical principles. I could literally give you a scripture that bags all of that up. And you hear a lot of cliches, just like I gave you that part from Shakespeare, where he used a lot of biblical content in his writing, just like our Constitution, just like our government. There's a lot of things that are in this world that we don't realize unless we've studied it, that it has a Bible base to it. It has a canonical base to it. And so, with that being said, you can DM me, you can message me, whatever you want to do, if you want to find out about the peace that I have. And I am so excited to be able to share that with you, because success doesn't always mean dollar signs. It just doesn't. That's not how you measure true success, because you could literally be on top of the world. You could be a superstar and people know your name from country to country to country, and you still be empty on the inside. So in 2021, if you really want to be victorious in your life, yep, you can apply these practical pieces that I've talked about to help add value to your life. But if you really want to be successful, then that is a relationship with the Lord. And a lot of people don't give him the credit that he's due, because they want to seem like he's this overbearing power that doesn't want you to have fun or enjoy your life or whatnot, have not. But I can guarantee you that I love my life. And it's not about, I will also share with you, and then I'm going to close out, but I will also share with you that my Christian walk used to be me saying that I had to be perfect in order for God to bless me, that I had to do things a certain way, and that I couldn't anger him, because if I angered him, then I would miss out on my blessing. I did used to think that way, until I understood his love for me better, until I understood his grace better. And God is not trying to stamp us out and destroy us. He really does want us to prosper in our life. He really does want us to be successful. He really does want us to have peace and have joy. And when I learned, really understood what his love for me meant in my life, it was no more, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. No, no, I can't do that. It was, I get to do that. I get to do this. I get to do that. It was, I don't want to do that. That, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. It changed because it took my relationship with him to a courtship, where I wanted to just be in his presence, where I wanted to just be around him and feel him around me. And it came to a point to where it wasn't about what I couldn't do, what I wasn't allowed to do, or anything of the sort. It was, I don't want to do anything that's going to damage my relationship with him and take away this amazing feeling of love and comfort that I have. And if anybody has ever been in love, then you understand that. Because when you're head over heels in love with somebody, you just want to be around them. You just want to hear their voice on the phone. You just want them to be sitting in the room. You ain't even got to talk. Just be right here. Let me just look at you, right? And so we do things for those relationships when we're in love with someone to be a healthy relationship, so that it's lasting. Same thing. I live my life the way I live my life because my life brings me joy and brings me peace. And no matter what is going on, I'm successful because of that. Happy New Year, IG. Very nice to meet you guys in person, per se. And I hope you comment. Say something about it. Share your own testimony or things that you do, steps that you take to help you be able to progress and be successful in life. And yeah, all right. Have a great 2021.